it is the comic book edition of Grimlock. Yes, me, Grimlock, happy to be here. On the front of this box is the cover of issue number 8 of the original normal series, and inside is Grimlock himself. In coloration that is very reminiscent of his comic book persona, and it's got some cool accessories. This is the second of the comic book style Transformers that they put out. First one being, of course, Shockwave, and now we've got Grimlock. I'm Captain Kyle. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. If you're a longtime viewer, thank you for your support. And I'm going to go through this guy bit by bit. He is a repaint of the Studio Series one, but still there's some interesting things, and it's worth checking out. Be right back. All right, so let's get him out of this cardboard. I mean, it's a very nice box. Like the Shockwave, I kind of wish I'd gotten two so I could display the box, but then again, if I keep the box intact, I can just put the box behind him, though I'm not even sure that I got room for that. Well, what's interesting about the box is it does actually tell you a little bit about Grimlock on the inside and shows some comic book artwork. Grimlock leads a team of powerful Dinobots. He fights on impulse, making him one of the strongest and most unpredictable Autobots. I'll do the rest in a normal voice. Grimlock resents authority unless he's the one in command. He hates Decepticons even more. This fuels the rage that he unleashes on his enemies. Me, Grimlock, have lots of rage. Need therapy. Okay, so we'll put this aside. Very nice box. We have instruction, shitty piece of paper, and Grimlock himself with 3 swords and a crown and a gun. So the swords here, one is for him. The other 2 are for Slag, aka Slug, and Sludge, who did not come with sword in their Studio Series incarnations. But let's snip everything out here. And apparently his comic sword has the notch in it that you could actually see in the comics, like once maybe, but that's what I was told. His gun is silver, and despite the fact that he has a very odd speech pattern, in the comics he's not supposed to be quite as ludicrously dumb as he turns out to be over the course of the cartoon series. He actually leads the Autobots for a time, though he's got some rage issues, he's got some anger issues, he's got a very straightforward way of doing things, and fights Blaster, and there's all kinds of stuff going on, and all kinds of crap on that table. Let's take a look at this guy. Again, he is a repaint of the Studio Series, which there have been a number of those, such as the G2 one, the Shattered Glass one. So I think this might be the 3rd repaint. So again, swords for his Dino buddies, though they are not in comic accurate colors. He's got his own sword, he's got a gun in silver, and he's got a crown, which fits quite nicely and securely onto his head. Me, Grimlock, king, not kisser. So let's take a look at him in this mode. You can see he's got his forearms on the back of his dino wings. Crown actually looks pretty good, I would have to say. Red eyes, blue head. Now, I'm going to get into posability quickly, though I did do the at least one of the other molds. But just to compare the Deco, you can see the head here is blue. The regular Studio Series is black, but he can also wear the crown, so he could pass it on if he so chose. A lot more yellow on the chest here instead of gold. A clear spot here, which is very kind of like an homage to his origins in G1 and his origins as a Diaclone. Here, it's all painted yellow with a nice Autobot symbol. He's got a little bit of detailing that makes him look more like a comic book character. You can also see that the legs are relatively unadorned, as opposed to the multicolored stripes on the legs of the original. But of course, he's got the blue thigh as opposed to black. They both have very red crotch pieces, but his yellow comes down a bit more. So there does seem to be a bit more deco on the upper level here. What I'm noticing with the wings here that form his chest, the Studio Series has the Autobot symbol. It does not look like the comic book version has that. You can see on the back here, the yellow throat, and again, a little bit more of the black striping, whereas this is just the gold throat. He's got red detailing on the Studio Series that is missing from the comic book one. It's almost like a comic book. There's only so many colors they can put in. Claws on the end of the arms are much more yellow than gold. Other than that, it's pretty much a duplicate. He does have a sword. Apparently comes with swoop. I haven't gotten a swoop yet, so he will have a sword. All right, so let's just put him aside and concentrate on why we're all here, which is this guy. And you can put the wings in various configurations and... Me, Grimlock, kick your ass. Me, Grimlock. King and fight blaster. Why, boy, hit my nose. I don't know, I'm just getting into Grimlock. All right, we're going to take these weapons out of his hands because he's got anger issues and go over quickly the posability. So I have done it with other versions before, but this guy can, I believe, do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme. Not a problem. Though if you want him to stay in that position, you kind of got to put his arms forward to kind of balance him. Not too much forward. Got to lean it a little bit. But there you go. He does the split. Now he does have, of course, ankle swivels, kick forward, good height, kick back. Might have to angle it out slightly to not hit the nose. So side kick, bend at the knee very nicely. It's got swivels at the top of the thighs, so can move the legs quite a bit. He does twist at the waist, so moving on up, twists all the way around. The arms, a little bit of a ratchet and, which, he did revive them, but goes all the way around. You just gotta kind of move the wings out of the way, bends at the elbows, got full swiveling for the arm. The fists can turn, and you can move the arms out to the side, move them like in many directions. So very posable on that front. The head, with or without crown, can turn in all directions. You can look down a little bit like, me think you small. Or you can be looking up like, why Skyfire? Getting way? So the fingers themselves, the fists don't open. That's a shame. And again, as I said before, you can move the wings in various configurations. He doesn't seem to have any type of ab crunch or anything like that. So there you have him. King of the Dinobots. Me, Grimlock, getting dizzy. So there he is in his comic book, more accurate robot mode. Let's take a look at the Dino mode. Though I do find it interesting that on the instructions it shows him holding all the swords, because, he can do that. Oh, and if you do want him to put aside the sword for now, or the gun, you can snap the gun onto apparently his arm in the back for storage. But yeah, just to show what it's talking about, if you want to have him use extra swords, you can Darth Maul it a bit and fight like that. But we're just going to pass those on to his Dino buddies. He can just use the one. All right, now I don't believe that you can transform him with the crown in place, but I will leave it on as long as I can. So there he is in his Dino mode as his comic accurate self. So a good representation of the comic edition. Now he does not have an Autobot symbol on his chest. You can see the awkward storage of his gun on his back. There is apparently no storage for the sword anywhere that I can see. And it does not reveal anything in here about putting the sword somewhere. So that's probably one of the reasons they did not include it in the original. But we like our swords, even if we have to put them aside. Definitely King of the Dinosaurs here. In his robot mode, you can see most of the differences in the decor, but putting the regular Studio Series next to him, the Autobot symbol that he has, which I'm not sure why they left it out of this particular one. You can see the differences in the guns and how this stands out a little bit more. This blend in slightly better, not really that better, and you can see he's got the white tip on his tail as opposed to the fully gray one. Now the thing with the comic books, and you can also see some detailing around the red eyes as opposed to the blue eyes that don't have detailing, and the stripes. I mean, with comic books, in some of those panels it was difficult to get as much detail, and having additional colors on his legs and all that, especially when the Transformers comic came out, getting the vibrant colors that you might have wanted on your Grimlock. Yeah, this is pretty much it. I think it's like 4 colors. So you got your, shades of gray, you got your yellow, you got some blue and a little red in there. Now he does have the Autobot symbol that was on his chest further down, so it looks like he could probably pee out of his Autobot symbol by the way it's positioned. Yes, it's a repaint, but I do like the comic book vibe from this. Do you need to get this guy if you already have this one? I mean, that's up to you. You could keep this one in the very nice package, just as a nod to their original appearance in the Transformers and, issue 8, that iconic cover. Not quite as iconic as the Shockwave cover, but still pretty iconic. It's a nice deco. I'm glad I have him, but if you're happy with the Studio Series, you don't necessarily need to run out and get this one, but he is a lot more comic accurate, and the colors kind of reflect that. And of course, in the comics, he was not part of a combiner. He was just leader of the Dinobots, and then leader of the Autobots. And then there were fights, and he challenged Fort Max, and Fort Max was recovering from wounds, so Blaster volunteered. But it turned out to be, read the original Marvel comics. I mean, they're overall good. Even the Car Wash of Doom wasn't bad. But while you are debating whether or not you want to get one of these very cool comic book versions of Grimlock, me, Grimlock in comic books. Yes, me, Grimlock here, that Tyrannosaurus Rex dinosaurs say, yes, like that. But while you're mulling them over, you can check out this video over here, which is actually the basic size Dinobots that do merge into a core class combiner known as Volcanicus. If you're enjoying this content, by all means, feel free to subscribe. We will see you next time. As always, have fun and good hunting.